everyone. I'm Natalia Bilbao, and here's what's happening in LA this week. Support for Families in District 6 is a monthly appointment for Council President Nury Martinez. Together with the LA Food Bank, Martinez has been boxing groceries and fighting food insecurity for Valley residents. We joined the Council President in Panorama City.
We're having one of our monthly food giveaways. We're trying to help at least 1,300 families today. We're partnering with LA Labor Center and Los Angeles Food Bank. We've done this on a regular basis just to make sure that people are being supported and that we're doing everything we can to help them put food on their table for their children. They'll get 2 boxes of groceries, fresh meat, produce, vegetables, to help them out for about a week and a half.
Nos ayuda con tener un poquito más de comida en la mesa, de proveer no tanto a mí, sino también, como le digo, compartir con los vecinos.
It benefits me because I'm not working right now due to the COVID, and also I have elderly parents who I take care of, so I can't work at this time. So these food banks really come in handy.
Hay muchas familias que no van a poder regresar a una vida normal porque no tienen trabajo o simplemente se les ha muerto alguien en su familia. Queremos seguir ayudando a esas familias, vamos a seguir teniendo estos tipos de eventos.
Para la señora Nury Martínez, pues muchas gracias por hacer siempre estar pendiente de toda la comunidad y pues proveernos estas ayudas, la de la comida.
The organization Asian Americans Advancing Justice has enlisted the help of former council member David Ryu in the fight against hate crimes. At a recent rally, the allies gathered to urge Governor Gavin Newsom to make history with his next state attorney general selection.
There's a coalition of elected officials and Asian American nonprofit organizations that came today to ask Governor Gavin Newsom to make history yet again. In this time where we're striving for racial equity, equality, and representation, Governor Gavin Newsom has an opportunity here to make history by appointing an Asian American as the next Attorney General. And this is more critical than ever now because of the immense hate crimes that we have seen towards the Asian American community.
Ese es un problema que empezó Donald Trump, y necesitamos que lucharlo para atrás, especialmente cuando empezó COVID.
It's because of the coronavirus and because of the former president, President Trump, singling out and attacking Chinese Americans has created an unprecedented levels of hate against Asian Americans. But it is crucial, like as Assemblymember Miguel Santiago said, you attack one of us, you attack all of us. And it's important that we all stand in solidarity.
It's very easy to ignore this issue. It's very easy to turn a blind eye. I don't see it, I don't feel it, I don't see it in front of me. But that's why it's so important that we are raising the issue, that we are tracking these incidences. From March 2020 to December 2020, close to 3,000 hate crimes against Asian Pacific Islanders have been reported.
Having an Asian Pacific Islander Attorney General as the California's top law enforcement official would provide our community with an important seat at the table to address what is happening today. Thank you.
Councilmember Mark Ridley Thomas was joined by actor and activist Anthony Anderson for the Suits in Solidarity event. They're letting the folks of District 10 know the COVID-19 vaccines are safe and available now.
What we're trying to do is get as many African-American men and African-Americans in general here to take the vaccine and hope that people will cover it and know that it's okay, it's not dangerous. You need to protect yourself because it's especially affecting communities of color.
It's safe, it's sound, and it's for your protection, your family's protection, and for our larger community protection.
If you have the opportunity and the chance to be vaccinated, I think you should really look into that and do that. Again, not only to protect yourself, but to protect your community and your family.
We're using Moderna today, which has a 95% efficacy rate, so it's an amazing vaccine. So if we can come out here and show the public that this vaccine works and protect them, we can get our society back to normal.
I had several friends had it already. They said they haven't had any problem.
And I like to travel. I want to get this out the way.
This is just a responsible thing to do. We're being proactive. And there will be more vaccinations being distributed right here in the 10th district. We're proud of this, and we're proud of those who are coming forth, setting an example.
Councilmember Ridley Thomas has had events all over District 10 bringing the vaccine to his constituents. We'll have coverage of another event later in the program. Meanwhile, in District 1, Team Cedillo was out at Highland Park for their weekly grocery giveaway. This week, the giveaway was supported by Academia Avance Charter School, and the recipients couldn't have been more grateful.
El día de hoy tuvimos la oportunidad de proporcionar cajas de comida a nuestra comunidad, básicamente a la comunidad de Highland Park. Algunas familias de nuestra escuela también se beneficiaron, pero este evento dio la oportunidad a que todas las familias de la comunidad de Highland Park se pudieran beneficiar.
We've been doing once a week up here in the Northeast and also down south. We've been doing a lot of food giveaways because there's so much need right now.
Pero mire, tiene lechugas, tiene calabazas, pepinos, cebollas, papas y también tiene estos, ¿cómo se llaman? Espárragos. Todo eso pues nos ayuda bastante para nuestros hijos.
We worked with a new group that's starting up a Highland Park Improvement Association, and the great people at Academy Avance.
We're a group of residents, and we wanted to fill the gap that we were seeing in terms of being able to help our community and do these kinds of events.
We were able to give out some dry goods and some produce, some lettuce, onions. There was asparagus in the boxes. Everyone was actually really excited about the asparagus.
We had 250 boxes of produce, and as you can see, they're all gone. So I have to say, we did, some people had a couple families per vehicle. We had a lot of walk-ups, so I'd have to say somewhere between 225 and 250 families were helped by this.
Que busquen, que hay muchos sitios en web donde les informan, muchas escuelas, muchas iglesias donde nos dan este tipo de ayudas. Que vengan porque es bueno todo lo que nos dan.
Sí, si las personas ocupan comida, si necesitan cualquier otro tipo de necesidad, de primera necesidad, incluyendo también máscaras, incluyendo también caretas, también pueden hablar a nuestra oficina del concejal Gil Cedillo.
With the number of mobile vaccine units on the rise, LA has also seen the COVID-19 numbers slowly decline. Health officials are doubling their efforts to bring doses to every community, and it seems to be working. Team Ridley Thomas was on the ground bringing vaccines to even more residents in District 10, and MLK Community Healthcare rolled into Jordan Downs to administer doses in District 15. Take a look.
Today to get both COVID tested and vaccinated. Both my parents have been vaccinated. They're over 65. Both of them also have had COVID. For our family, it's important that we stay safe and we don't contribute to the spread of COVID.
This is something that's important. We need to do this. It's something that we should all do to play our part. We have to slow the flow of this spread of this disease. I have a restaurant. We also make COVID food deliveries. So me taking this shot is good because now when I can go and make these deliveries and deliver these meals, I feel 100% safe.
Pues muy mala porque me dio muy feo a mí. Me dio el COVID. Pasé casi 3 semanas en cama, que no me podía levantar, no podía hacer nada. Casi me muero, la verdad. Una experiencia muy no sé cómo decirle, pero muy difícil.
I've done thousands of vaccines and I've only seen 1 or 2 reactions. I think it's one of the safest vaccines, arguably, because it is so heavily scrutinized and new. I would be more concerned about what would happen if I got coronavirus rather than the side effects from the actual vaccine itself. A lot of people are appreciative. It's very common to receive gifts from patients who come. They're really pleased. And the most common reaction is people are surprised at how painless it is.
It is about outreach, it is about education, it is about targeting those communities that are disproportionately underrepresented. The more we move forward, the more people will come forward.
We're bringing vaccinations in partnership with Martin Luther King Hospital to the Jordan Downs community. At Boys and Girls Clubs of Metro LA, we serve Jordan Downs with meal service and after-school service, and we've been partnering to sign up families and community members to get their vaccines.
As you can see behind me, we've got the mobile vaccinations going on. We're bringing that out to the community in addition to the fixed tents and the fixed locations that we have on site at the clinics and in the hospital area. There are other programs that we're carrying out, such as the street medicine program, which is going to be coming through very soon, where we're going to be bringing our services out to the streets and providing care on the streets for folks.
La pandemia ha mejorado, pero no se ha desaparecido. Las comunidades de Ecuador tienen la mayoría de riesgo sobre la enfermedad. Y la manera mejor de proteger la comunidad entera es que todos los adultos estén vacunados.
Pero me puse a leer más, a escuchar a mis hijos que me dijeron, no, papá, ¿sabes qué? Tienes que ir. Y aquí estoy. Y la verdad no sentí nada con la vacuna, fue algo sin dolor. Me dicen que a lo mejor me va a doler el brazo tantito, pero hasta ahí.
The reality is that these vaccines are exceedingly safe and exceedingly effective. To get accurate information, I recommend that people visit either the CDC website or the California Department of Public Health, CDPH website, or the Martin Luther King Jr. Community Healthcare website, where we have a great deal of information, as well as links where people can receive accurate information. And at both those sites, you can receive in multiple languages.
Councilmember Joe Buscaino earmarks tiny houses for students. Uber, USC, and the mayor's office arrange rides to a new USC vaccination site, and the LA Zoo offers a virtual global trek. These stories up next on City Beat.
Councilmember Joe Buscaino is continuing his efforts to combat homelessness in his district. The councilmember and LA Harbor College interim president, Dr. Luis Dorado, recently toured the site where the latest tiny home community is currently under construction. Councilmember Buscaino is working alongside LA Harbor College, the LA County Sheriff's Department, the Salvation Army, and other service providers to run a dynamic campaign to set aside 25 tiny homes for students. Each tiny home is 64 square feet and features 2 beds, a desk, windows, and plug-in power connections. Construction is set to be completed by May of 2021. For more information on the upcoming tiny home village at LA Harbor College, visit LA15th.com. To ensure those hardest hit by the pandemic in South LA get vaccinated, Uber, USC, and the mayor's office have joined forces to provide free and discounted rides to the new USC vaccine site located in the Flower Street parking garage at Expo and Figueroa. In addition to the rideshare partnership, the USC site features a new traffic design pattern created by the LA Department of Transportation. LA DOT's design will minimize gridlock and provide safe and efficient movement in the surrounding communities. The USC site serves as the latest city-run vaccination hub set to administer more than 5,000 shots per day. The location will accommodate drive-up, walk-up, and patients who require additional access services. For more information, visit corona-virus.la/vaccine. If you're ready to raise awareness for endangered species, Take a walk on the virtual wild side with the LA Zoo. Walk for the Wild is a virtual global trek and fundraising event that will support the LA Zoo's conservation efforts. Walk for the Wild kicks off on Thursday, April 22nd for Earth Day. You can register as an individual or create a team for the event. The challenge is to travel more than 14,000 collective miles, track your progress, and fundraise for a good cause. You will have the unique opportunity to connect with fellow wildlife lovers, learn about conservation, and tour never-before-seen parts of the zoo. To set up your account and register for this extraordinary journey, visit lazoo.org.
Every year, twice a year, the LA Fire Department suggests that you do a safety check of plants and supplies. Well, it's that time of year again, and an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
It's very important that we are reminded about safety every so often. Every time we change our clocks is a good opportunity for the family to review certain safety aspects in the home. One of them is to ensure that the smoke alarms or fire alarms are working or functional inside your home. The old 9-volt battery alarms, on average, the batteries would last about 2 years. Many people just were not in the habit of replacing them or changing them. The new smoke alarms that we use now are sealed smoke alarms that have a life of about 10 years. It's important to have a practice drill with all the family members, and that includes the children and the elderly inside the home. Do your children know what to do if the alarm sounds in the middle of the night? Having a place to reunify the family outside of the home is very important. Once you get outside of the house, stay outside of the house. Your emergency kit. Los botiquines de emergencia son sumamente importantes en el sur de California, ya que es una área donde hay desastres. Tenemos emergencias como terremotos, inundaciones, incendios de maleza. Es importante revisar cada cuanto estos botiquines de emergencia porque contienen muchas veces nuestras medicaciones que se pudieran haber expirado o alimentos también que llegan a ser expirados. And don't forget to include your cats in your calculation.
In a special in-studio interview, Councilmember Mitch O'Farrell sits down with the former executive director of the newspaper La Opinión, Gabriel Lerner. Together, they discuss the changing landscape of journalism and print media.
Some of the most important events in my life in terms of journalism were just unprecedented or unseen or just strange and interesting. So the way I started to work as a journalist was because I always wrote.
Like so many journalists, you, through your career, have experienced the struggle of print journalism and the rise of digital media. So you saw the seedlings of this seismic shift early on. What were your feelings back then about this new era of journalism?
Yes, and that brings me to a conversation I had with then editor of La Opinión before I left to the Huffington Post, saying, Pedro Rojas, I'd like to move to digital because this is where the future is. And we are losing the war, we are losing the fight. I'm asking for the public, for the readers, to be patient and to stick with us and to stay loyal to us the same way that we have been loyal to you for almost 100 years.
Speaking of La Opinión, you helped just really establish it as the most widely read Spanish language newspaper. How do you think you were able to be part of that success?
Well, I am standing on the shoulders of giants, as they say. I owe this to 94 or 95 years of La Opinión, to Mónica Lozano and the Lozano family who created La Opinión.
I want to give a heartfelt thank you to La Opinión's executive director and my good friend, Gabriel Lerner.
Gabriel, quiero desearte lo mejor en esta nueva etapa de tu vida, pero también darte las gracias por todo tu apoyo en estas casi 2 décadas que hemos trabajado juntos.
He believes in what he does, and he has a commitment with his profession, with life, and with the community.
The Los Angeles Police Department is engaged in an ongoing effort to refocus on the safety of all its citizens. Part of that change is how it deploys Lieutenant Kelly Munoz and the LAPD's SMART program. This specially trained team is vital in the response for mental health 911 calls. Check this out.
So SMART is a program that was implemented by the Los Angeles Police Department in 1993, and it pairs a DMH clinician, Department of Mental Health clinician, with a Los Angeles police officer, and they respond to mental health calls.
So originally they were sort of the second team to go out, but now it's a co-first response, correct?
Correct. It's a policy change and a change in the model. Before February 8th, we would wait for patrol to neutralize the situation, and then we would rely on patrol to call us, where now dispatch is now going to send us directly to the call to respond with the patrol unit at the same time.
Because I imagine, especially when you think about a mentally ill individual who is acting out and having all of this police activity land on them with lights and sirens and things like that, I can imagine that that would escalate a scenario pretty rapidly. Would this help in that, so that the team, the SMART team that's going out, would understand that kind of thing?
Yes. So mental health can be very complex, and we ask a lot of our patrol officers. So having this additional resource, it helps the whole situation from the patrol officers to the community.
But with the evolution of SMART, the amount of SMART team calls has actually really increased very rapidly.
Yes, we recently just did an analysis of a 10-day period from February 8th through February 18th for the same time this last year, and we've handled 57 more calls in that same 10-day period than we did in 2020. So there is an increase in our response to calls, which is really the point of getting to these calls, getting there timely as we can.
Best of luck with everything, and I hope that you get all the support you need for your SMART teams, because it seems to be a very positive thing to do in this day and age.
Thank you, Mary.
In his letter from Birmingham jail, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once wrote, "Justice too long delayed is justice denied." 5 years later, he would say in a speech, "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice." Happily, that describes our feature story this week. Recently, the LAPD righted a wrong done to one officer, Robert William Stewart, some 120 years ago. Here's that story.
Robert Stewart was dismissed from the Los Angeles Police Department by the Police Commission after he was charged with raping a white teenager while he was on patrol. And there was no indication of what happened to him, so I decided to look into it and started pulling on the thread, and it turned out to be a very long thread.
He comes across her late in the evening. I believe there was a curfew at that time for young people. I think he inquired of her about being out at that time of night, and that was pretty much it. That was his only conversation with her. She then fabricates later, we don't know really why, but she fabricates the story that, he raped her.
Officer Stewart was immediately arrested.
And at that time, when an officer was charged with anything of significance, they're relieved of duty.
Stewart got a raw deal. He was not given any chance to present any defense to the police commission. The first trial was a hung jury. The vote was 7-5 to acquit him. The district attorney decided to retry the case, and when it was retried at the end of December 1900, he was acquitted in 40 minutes.
Once he was acquitted, the Board of Police Commissioners refused to reinstate Officer Stewart.
He never was able to get his job back.
He worked as a laborer primarily until he was 70 years old, and then the last 10 years or so of his life he worked as a janitor.
It has taken 120 years for us to recognize that an injustice was done to Officer Stewart.
For over 100 years, we didn't know about this guy. And how does that happen? How does his story get buried? And here we are in 2021 trying to make it right.
I was so pleased that all of the commissioners recognized that this was the right thing to do.
Having the police commission vote to restore Stewart undoes what their predecessors did 120 years ago.
What happened to Robert Stewart makes certain people feel uncomfortable, and it should. It should, and the only reason it makes people feel uncomfortable is because we still haven't dealt with this whole issue of race. So it's important for the city of LA to embrace that part of its history, just like we embrace the achievements.
People in the city should know that Robert Stewart was a good man. He wanted to protect the citizens of Los Angeles.
Join LA Public Library for The Big Read. Enjoy an Iranian cooking class filled with Farhang flavor, or engage with a super cerebral virtual art exhibit. All this up next on Virtual Things to Do.
Log on with the Cahuenga Branch Library for a discussion about this year's big read pick, The Roundhouse by Louise Erdrich. The Roundhouse follows the story of a 13-year-old boy who sets out to find his mother's attacker with the help of his best friends. Set in the Ojibwe Reservation in North Dakota, our young hero unravels a mystery that galvanizes and transforms an entire community. This big read event, brought to you from the LA Public Libraries and the Department of Cultural Affairs, happens Saturday, March 27th, beginning at 3 p.m. Be part of this virtual event by sending an email to hstgeorge@lmpl.org. The Roundhouse by Louise Erdrich is available with your library card on Overdrive, Hoopla, and their Library to Go service. Farhang Foundation invites you to their virtual series celebrating the art of Iranian cooking, simple and easy to make recipes by accomplished chefs. Learn from chefs who are inspired by Iranian cuisine and ingredients. Delve into the entire series that includes a tasty love story and bottom-of-the-pot crispy rice. You can do the adventure dining you've always dreamed of from the comfort of your own kitchen. To take part in Farhang Flavor, celebrating the art of Iranian cooking, visit farhang.org/programs. Ready to learn about this week's virtual art exhibit? Then allow us to invite you to Membrane Tensions by Maru Garcia. The work of Maru Garcia explores the intersection of art, science, and environment, examining the ways in which we understand biological processes via collaboration in various forms. Garcia has created a suite of new sculptural works, drawings, time-lapse video, live stream video, and a site-specific installation. And you can check them out via the Los Angeles Municipal Art Gallery's website. For more information, visit lamag.org. And that's a look at some virtual things to do.
That's it for this edition. I am Natalia Bilbao, and from all of us here at LA This Week, thank you so much for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org, and we're also on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. See you next time for more LA This Week.